Evolutionary.org podcast coming your way, episode 458. Stevesmi and the Rickster, Ricky B. Rock. What's up, buddy?
Hey, what's up, Steve? What's up, guys? How's everybody doing out there?
All right, so on this one, guys, we're bringing back the SARMs guru, one of the most knowledgeable guys on SARMs out there. I don't know how he does it. I think he's a robot or something, but he is really the most up-to-date person on SARMs. And Rick did an interview with him, and we're going to present that to you in this episode. And from what I gather, because I'm going to listen to it right now, this is going to be about MK677 nutrobal, one of the really most coolest, I think, SARM. It's not actually a SARM, but it's sold as a SARM, and it's one of the coolest kind of compounds out there that a lot of guys like to use in SARM stacks, and you can also use it in steroid stacks too, right?
Yeah, it's a great compound. It's a very different compound than anything else we have out there. It's a very unique compound when it comes to actual performance enhancing drugs, because it's sort of the only one that we have that's out there that works just quite this way. So this is from episode number 40 of the Elite Fitness podcast. If you want to check out that podcast, that's elitefitness.com. On the top right, you'll see where it says podcast. Click on that, and it'll send you to every episode I've ever done of the Elite Fitness podcast. So without further ado, guys, here it is. Check it out. MK677. Now, out of all of the performance enhancement compounds out there, this is one of the more kind of unique, kind of weird ones, because MK677, it's like a growth hormone booster. It's not like some of the other SARMs that are actually attaching to androgen receptors or PPAR inhibitors or along those lines. No, this one actually has an effect on your body's production of growth hormone. It boosts, it increases the amount of growth hormone your body produces. A real interesting compound. So tell us a little bit more about the actions of how it works and how it achieves this kind of growth hormone boost.
So it's a growth hormone secretagogue, and it's also a ghrelin receptor agonist, right? So essentially what it does is it's going to increase the endogenous secretion of like IGF-1 and HGH, like that. So like a secretagogue, because I know not everybody's going to even know what that means. Basically, it's just like kind of like a substance. Then what it's going to do is signal your pituitary gland in your body to just secrete more growth hormone. Obviously, you can take it orally, in liquid form, like it's sold as with SARMs. I hate to call it a SARM, but you can take it that way. There's no injections needed whatsoever, which is nice, and that can kind of be one of the things that you look at when you're comparing it to HGH as an advantage, for 677 use. Obviously the cost and everything else, but that's a whole nother topic to discuss. Now, just something about it real quick. It's not going to affect your natural testosterone levels whatsoever. No problems shutting you down, endocrine functions, anything of the sort. So you don't need to worry about that. You don't need any kind of PCT with it. So it's nice because you can use it in any scenario you want. You can use it at any time. You can throw it in here. You can add it. You can start it whenever you want. That's the beauty of it. And also there's clinical trials that they have going on with it constantly. There's studies that have gone back into the 90s that you can read. Once again, I'd have to cite those, and I'm not really prepared to do that right now, but there's plenty of them there. I've shared them and read them a million times. But what they're doing is they're addressing like growth hormone deficiencies and muscle wasting diseases. So, and when you go and you look up any SARM, especially the older ones like the 2866, the S4, what were they designed for? They're designed to prevent muscle wastage. People that had osteoporosis, HIV, cancer, when they're just getting their muscle eaten away. But I said in 2015, this is going to shortly be the favorite of many. And you just watched it get more popular and more popular and more popular and more popular. It was, it always used to cost a lot more though than other SARMs because the raws to produce it were always a lot more expensive. And a lot of times people weren't even getting MK677 pure. So a lot of times the suppliers, and this was not even the fault of the people really selling it, they were sending it, and if you got it tested, it was like half 2866 or 3/4 2866, and partial 677. And there were suppliers selling it far cheaper. You'd see it for like $18,000 a kilogram, right? And then you'd have one supplier that had it for like 6 or 7. And if you don't understand that something's fucked up with that, then I guess that's kind of on you. And then obviously they're not testing it if they're selling it that way, or they just don't give a fuck and they're selling it. And there are people like that too. But that was just something interesting to bring up about it. If you want me to get into any benefits or positives of it, just let me know. I've got a little rundown.
Definitely any kind of compound that's real expensive like that will get replaced or just faked outright. This is why Primabol and Anavar, the more expensive ones to buy, and they get faked the most. And MK677, as far as performance enhancement compounds go for the underground, is one of the most expensive ones out there to get. But it's definitely a very interesting one because I think the one way you could know right away if you got legit MK677 is the hunger and the sleepiness. It might take you several months to see, in my opinion, to see the full out effects of what increasing your growth hormone levels are. It might take you weeks and then months to really see what it could do. But as far as being sleepy and hungry, I mean, that you get that coming on right away. Is that correct?
Yeah, the hunger, a lot of people are going to notice it in just a few days. Some people takes a little bit longer, and everybody's different. But, let's say you took 100 people, I'd say probably 75 to 80 of them would be just fucking starving or eating like an animal. And that's definitely one. Now, the lethargy is another thing. And then the water retention. Those are the three that you're going to see. I just put a video out about controlling the water retention or how to at least mitigate it based upon your sodium to potassium consumption ratios. And that video goes up. Just in short, one of the major problems is that people don't get anywhere near the amount of potassium they need. And most everybody, almost except the people like me that monitor our diet to the T, a lot of people eat way more sodium than they realize or that their daily allotment should be. And so in that video, I told everybody, don't exceed 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day. And at the bare minimum, get 3,500 milligrams of potassium, but you really need 4,700 milligrams of potassium. And if you go check your diet out, most people don't get anywhere near that. But also, what you brought up is also factual about the lethargy. And that's why I've always advised to take it before bed. It helps with your sleep enhancement regardless, and that will help to alleviate a lot of that lethargy that people do feel. And that does dissipate, just like the water retention, just like the hunger. That doesn't last forever. Once you get through about a month to 6 weeks for some, a lot of that stuff will taper off. And people get confused because 677 can increase your hunger so much. But if you look at studies over time, it is. And just like HGH, HGH doesn't increase the hunger, but over time, HGH is known for its fat loss capabilities, not for turning into a mass monster like some people think. Same with 677. It's not going to turn you into a mass monster. You're going to get nice lean muscle gain, but it's really good for fat loss over time. And studies they've cited will clearly show you that data, as well as people that have run logs, and people that we see on forums and in other message boards and videos and everything else. So that's something that needs to be recognized too. But yes, those are the main 3 ways you'll know pretty damn quick if you've got real 677 or not.
All right. So I see and I understand the taking it at nighttime because it's going to make you sleepy, basically. But now, real GH, when you inject just regular human growth hormone, most guys like to inject it early in the morning.
Right.
That way you don't get in the way of your natural GH production. Your body's your pituitary gland is producing, it's between 15 to 20 times more growth hormone when you're asleep, REM sleep, than when you're awake. So guys will take the human growth hormone that they inject, exogenous human growth hormone. They would take it in the morning, first thing in the morning. So that way you get the natural hormone release when you're asleep, and then you add it in the morning. Now, using MK677 at nighttime, would that somehow interfere or suppress your natural nighttime REM sleep production that your body naturally does, or will it enhance it? What effects does it have taking it at nighttime like that, so close to your body's natural rhythm?
So I'm one of those guys that if I've ever heard one person claim that it affected their sleep negatively, I have to bring it up. You know what I mean? Even if it was 1 out of a million, I got to at least say it happened once. So on rare occurrences, I've seen people say that it has interfered with their sleep in a negative way, but that is very rare. But I have seen it. I've seen it a few times. Now, I have read studies on this. They did a study. I don't have the exact year in front of me right now, and I'd have to look it up, but I'm not going to waste our time. I just remember that it was, I want to say like 7 to 8 people that were like 18 to 30 in that range. And then they took some older people like 60, mid 60s to lower 70s. And I remember specifically this number because it said that they were able to increase their REM sleep by as much as 50%. All right. And I've seen tons of people just on forums and, message boards, like I said, in YouTube, that they all talk about. That's one of the things they talk about: vivid dreams, better sleep, vivid dreams. But that's one of the known main benefits that goes along with it. But I can assure you that most people that use it find it to be extremely beneficial for them improving their quality of sleep.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So definitely improves the quality of sleep. How about human growth hormone production during a nighttime? Because I mean, even just exogenous human growth hormone that you inject has been shown in some clinical data to suppress your natural growth hormone production. Would taking MK677 at nighttime, when your body would naturally produce more GH, could that interfere with your natural production, or does it have no effect? Does it enhance it? What effect does
I have not seen that be an issue with anybody. I really haven't. One of the main things that you see, and you see it in blood work, you see it in the studies constantly, is the pretty drastic possible increases of GH and IGF-1 levels. I'm trying to remember the exact numbers on the studies, but I remember one that I read, I want to say after a year, it was increased levels by 55 to 75%. And there were several studies that I remember reading citing that. So, and if you, one of the things that I always want to see people's blood work. I mean, I think anybody that's kind of involved in this, we all, any steroids or PED person that either uses or studies them, blood work is like the end all be all, at least in my view. I don't know. Everybody's different. I base everything off blood work because without the blood work, you never truly know. You feel something, but I want to see it on paper. All right. And so blood works that I have seen, anybody that has any sort of quality 677, I always see very drastic increases in IGF-1 levels, and most everybody's taking it pre-bed. So I have no reason to believe or advise anyone that they should be concerned about that at all.
Being able to see the blood work of a big cross section of users is definitely a good anecdotal evidence, at least, that it is having no effect on it, at least no negative effect.
Right. So, but I can probably get some studies up on the forums for everybody too, to just kind of show them, because it's a question that does, you do need to see these studies so you can see, aside from just reading people's blood work. But I'll look into that and getting something like a nice couple graphs or something that kind of break it down, because it's pretty drastic, man. I mean, it's a significant change. So I'll get it out there.
Good. That's cool. So, so when people come off of MK677, is there any post-psychotherapy procedure or any kind of special care that needs to be given in any way, or can you kind of come off it cold turkey? Do you taper off? What do you do? What's the best way to come off MK677?
It doesn't cause endocrine suppression. It doesn't lower natural testosterone. It doesn't inhibit like your SHBG, LH, FSH. Doesn't raise estrogen. It doesn't suppress any sex hormones at all, or increase any like antagonizing hormones. There's no hormonal suppression. So you wouldn't require any sort of PCT whatsoever with it. And the half-life is, you know, about 24 hours or so. So it's not, it's once you stop taking it, it's not like it's hanging around forever. It's very simple, man. It's really cut and dry. I mean, you don't have to worry about any of that, and that's a major plus. You know, I mean, nobody wants to worry about recovery and this and that and all that. Not, you know, I mean, people hate it. Well, that's why people just want to blast and cruise and do that type of shit. And so nothing to worry about there at all.
What's a good length of cycle where you could get? How long should someone use MK677 to get the full benefits out of it? And maybe after how long do you not get any of the benefits? What do you say to that?
So like, okay, that's a good question. There's a lot of people with a lot of different, you know that you see a lot of people have different beliefs or theories or advice on how to do it. All right. There's no shutdown of natural GH production at all, like at all. Okay. Some people are using it for like a therapeutic treatment of growth hormone deficiency. And then that's a good reason to run it more longer term. All right. Now, I will say a couple things. There's a couple reasons why you may not want to do it too long a term. The first is that it will probably increase your blood glucose levels, and that can contribute to some insulin resistance in the more longer term. The second reason is some people, not all, because I've seen some people and I've seen some studies show that it's very beneficial over time and you continue to see results. Some people feel like it has kind of like that diminishing returns effect type of deal. But and then again, there's different studies. So some of the studies are going to show you that you're going to see a huge spike early, and then over the next, 6, 7, 8 months, it's going to just kind of either maintain or tail off a little bit. I've seen other studies that show that it just keeps increasing over the 12-month period. So that's one thing. I just find that on user to user basis, from what I've personally observed, from what people that I've coached, is that more often than not, the people that get the best results are in that 6 months to a year area. All right. So me personally, that's where I like to keep it. I always tell people, 3 months, you'll get some good benefits. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you're not. All right. But like, let's say you have a moderately high or high fasting blood glucose level. You shouldn't even touch it, let alone run it long term, right? So it's, once again, it's just like anything else. Different people respond differently, have different scenarios, different backgrounds, or whatever the case may be. So some people got to be a lot more careful than others. I think if you're just a general person that is not having any of these worries or concerns, I think 6 months is a good time frame to run it at the minimum, to really get everything out of it. You can do a lot of things and still get, it's like on SARM cycles. When I tell people you're going to get the most out of your 12-week cycle, will you get results in 8 weeks? Absolutely. Are you leaving gains on the table? Yes. Same here. So, but it's really up to you, because you got to monitor your blood work and you got to know your body.
How long after starting MK677 would a person be able to see a really noticeable increase in their growth hormone levels?
I'd say after a month,
So after
4 to 6 weeks.
and okay, so after about a month, 4 to 6 weeks, people can see a big increase. Have you ran across anyone that had blood tests for their growth hormone before MK677 and blood test during their run? And how much were their levels increased? Twofold, threefold, fourfold? Have you come across that yet or not?
I've seen a ton of blood work with significant increases over the last, 7, 8 years, lots of it. And at first, you're kind of like surprised because it's newer to you, it's a newer compound, but then you just kind of start to expect it and you're shocked when you don't see it. So, I always see at least 30, 40% increases with most people, a lot of people even higher than that. And that's normally in a pretty damn good amount of time. I haven't seen too many people that post their blood work after a month, but there are people that I've seen, and all of them have good, strong increases. Most of the people generally are waiting 3 and 4 months to test it, but there's some people that will do it quicker. You know how some people are, and they want to know quicker, and they're a little bit more educated on when they should be testing it, and how to really get to the bottom of things and make sure they're working properly. But yeah, I would expect pretty significant increases with quality 677, and if you're dosing it properly, etc. So
That's real interesting. Yeah, definitely. I think that'd be a good topic for the forums. Evolutionary.org. You have isarms.com. It'd be a great post up to actually give some before and after blood work numbers. I think that's real interesting how much it increases. Now, another question about 677 I had here in my notes. Let's see here. All right, what else does it stack well with? What can you throw on top of 677 that will work synergistically with it and enhances results? Obviously, growth hormone works great with steroids, period. But is there anything different or additional when using 677? What once you combine it with, or maybe not combine it with?
I am going to tell you a little secret here that some people are aware of and some are not. Supplement that you take with it. Huperzine A, which is a nootropic. That's the one that you want to take alongside of it. I would say about 200 micrograms 3 times a day. There's some studies that say that it inhibits somatostatin in the body, and it's kind of like a myostatin effect, I guess, on inhibiting muscle growth. But it can free up more HGH, essentially, is what we're getting at here. So that's the one supplement that I would recommend to take with it. You could use something like berberine to help keep your blood sugar in check if you think that might be an issue for you as well. But stack wise, what one of my favorite stacks is, and also it pairs extremely well with HGH, because you get that question a lot. In fact, I'll have a video that I'm going to do on stacking HGH with MK677 for everybody. I think that will be a very intriguing one. But one of my favorites is the healing stack. And so in that healing stack, you're getting MK677, MK2866, and LGD 4033. Now, 4033 has small healing benefits, but it fits really well into the cycle because of what it does on top of that. But it's really nice to finish off that healing stack. The two main healers in the stack are going to be 2866 and 677. Now, what's really nice there is 2866 works a lot faster, and it has a really, trust me, that's my go-to when I have injuries that I'm really trying to help enhance the healing, if I had to pick one, because it's faster acting. But you get that faster acting while the 677's building up, and then you start to, once you have to come off the 2866, you're already in the process, and it's enhancing, the healing aspect of it. And 677 just continues on the long term, especially if it's a more significant injury. And then you take all the benefits of all three of those that they already possess, on top of the healing aspect of it, you got a pretty damn strong cycle there. Now, you can really stack 677 with anything, man. I mean, a lot of people like it to be carried over into their PCTs, especially on like a steroid cycle, which is great. You can run it with any steroid you want, any SARM you want, and you can really run it in any scenario, whether it's cutting, bulking, or recomping, because I can give you a benefit in all the scenarios. In fact, multiple benefits. So being that it's that versatile on top of everything else, man, that's fucking platinum right there. You know, those compounds are few and far between that you can just, because you can run GW 501 516 in any scenario. You can run SR 9009 in any scenario, but you know, and are they really suitable in a bulking cycle? Well, maybe to help keep some fat off and keep you going, yeah. But that's more secondary in terms of where 677 can be more of like a primary, however you put it, which is just sweet. So, you know, there's a multitude of benefits. There's unlimited scenarios where it fits well. That's hard to come by, man. That's hard to come by. So that makes it pretty fucking strong in my view.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a very unique compound, to say the least. I mean, what it does and how it works. One thing I wanted to ask you, moving on, changing topics just a tiny bit now. I've seen you put a video up on your YouTube channel about SARMs gels. And for you guys out there listening, Dylan's YouTube channel right now is PE Space Fitness on YouTube. If you want to see, sometimes YouTube gets a bug up their ass about steroid content. They might shut channels down. If you want, just put Dylan Gemelli right on YouTube, and you should be able to find his most latest videos. Dylan Gemelli with a double L at the end there, double L-I. Now, Dylan, tell me a little bit more about SARMs gels, how it works, how do you dose them, what are the differences or advantages maybe? Why would somebody want SARMs gels over some of these, over what guys are using now, which is the dropper and the liquid?
The SARMs gels are amazing, man. Like, I was caught off guard by that one, but I did get like some little bits and information of them. I don't have like a full understanding and education of them, but I have a pretty good understanding of what they are and what they do. So what's nice about the SARMs gels, that I'm a huge fan of, is the fact that, you know, it's so easy. You don't have to worry about carrying around a bottle with a dropper in it. A lot of people have always complained about the capsules, and I feel like a lot of the places that make the capsules, if people aren't getting results yet, that's real quality shit, is that they don't know how to press their pills, and they're just doing it at home. You know what I mean? They don't have like real machines and things like that, which obviously there's tons of room for error and understanding there. I'm no manufacturer, but even I get that. So I'm pulling up, I'm going to pull this up for you real quick, and I'm just going to read it to you real quickly. SARMs gels are a highly stable, durable storage and delivery matrix. So basically what they're telling us is it's a new method of ingestion, and it's like basically a brand new way to just be more precise in your dosing, I guess. And what they tell you here is it offers preclinical benefits over liquid and powder. It's a gel-based media with a specific SARM in it, obviously, and it's embedded into each gel, but it's dissolvable. So it's able to really be accurately concentrated, and it's still really durable. So it's a lot more portable and storageable as well than liquids, powders, and capsules. You tear open a pouch, you eat a gel, and you're done. It's just sweet. They do come in like, so when you buy them, you can get like a 10-pack, and that's all they had before. And I let them know. I said, you guys, if you want to do this properly, you should probably make a change here. So they have 30 packs and 90 packs. So because otherwise, it's a lot of money. They give you a discount. So like you can get a 30 pack. Well, there's a month, right? So if you get a 90 pack, there's your cycle. And so it's nice, man. It's essentially, it was developed from my understanding to make it, you're basically getting the most precise method of dosing with it that can possibly be done. It's making it a lot more easy for people to do it if you need to hide it, or to just take it. Some people don't like to swallow pills. Some people definitely don't like the way the liquid tastes. So it's alleviating all of those problems. And it's just nice and simple. So
So
I have never
one
seen-
packet is one dose. One packet is good for 1 day. Is that correct? Or for one dose?
So yeah, so let's say you buy a 10 pack, right? Well, one pack, let's say it's GW501516. It'll say on the packet, this is a 20 milligram dose. So that's your dose for the day. So it'd be like if you got a package, like they portioned out your capsules or something like that, and it was in a pack, and here's one package, rip it open, take that capsule for the day. There's your dose, right? Same deal here, except it's a gel. It's a lot easier.
Are you paying an increase in price because of the extra packaging and stuff needed, or is it the
It's
same
a
price?
little bit more expensive, but I'm assuming these cost a lot more to make.
So yeah, so manufacturers basically is eating some of the costs there to bring this out to people, apparently, because yeah, I mean,
to provide you with like the best method of absorption and ensure you're actually getting the most out of it and everything. And this is my assumption. I don't like sit there and work for them, but I have a relationship with them, where if I email them or need something or whatever, I'm going to get an answer pretty damn quick. So from my understanding, there's no better way to go about this to make sure you're getting everything properly.
are the gels, do you put them under your tongue or anything like that, or is it just swallowed, same as you would with liquid?
I mean, I just chew them and swallow them because, but you can feasibly put it under your tongue if you like. I know some people like to do that sublingual dosing. That's just not something I feel is necessary, but to each their own. I'm not going to argue that. I'm not saying it's not effective. I just don't think it's necessary.
Now, I'm sure you've heard of injectable SARMs out there and some of these reports. What have you heard about injectable SARMs? And do you think that's even a thing, or do you think that's even something anyone should do?
That's nothing I ever want to associate myself around, advise, be around, be any part of any company that's doing that. I won't recommend it or be around it in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. That's not how they're meant to be done. I don't find that to be wise. I've seen people have negative reactions to it. I want absolutely zero ever to do with any of that. You start doing shit like that, and that's what gets it shut down, and it brings negative attention and yada yada yada. It has a bad fucking stigma, and then people don't know what they're doing, and they get hurt, and they do stupid shit. Parents freak out. This is the best fucking way to fuck this up for everybody. You know what I mean?
It just takes one. I mean, I just did a podcast with a guy, and he brought up the kid who killed himself, the baseball player. He was on steroids, and after the kid committed suicide on steroids, the feds went after Mexican labs. It really just takes one or two people fucking themselves up for there to be a whole federal movement against something like this. And yeah, definitely.
Fucking, first it was everybody tries to saturate the fucking market when the pro hormones, and then all these fuckers did all that and brought negative light to it and fucked the whole shit up and almost got it completely fucked, and still has like a shady gray area when before, Rick, damn well, when it was just fucking research chemicals, it was money, like pure money. Nobody even paid attention to it. So you were never going to have a fucking problem. Now, I understand, being that there's so much benefits there, that was more people were going to find out and use it eventually, but that was just a fuck all. I don't know. You see, I get pretty irritated with shit like this because it just ruins it for everybody.
It's greed, I guess. It's greed. Whenever there is different outfits competing for a piece of a market, someone's going to want to stand out. Someone's going to want to kind of do it differently. And that's kind of what happened with pro hormones. I mean, the first pro hormones to hit the market were the diones and the diols. There was no methylated stuff out there. And then around the mid 2000s, some guy said, you know what? We're just going to start bringing methylated hormones on over. And they did. And then everybody started using it. And that's when things got messed up, when people started having liver issues, because you had newbies that knew nothing about liver support or about anything, taking methylated stuff and without being educated. And that's when you know, companies started to get raided and all that. Yeah, some of the greed messes it up for what could otherwise be something that could have trajectory and stay around for a long time. So yeah, I wanted to get your opinion on injectable SARMs, because they were all the buzz around for a little while, and then they died off. Nobody talks about them anymore. They're not available anymore. It seems like some people started to have problems with them really early on.
Yeah, they were, and nobody. I mean, most SARMs users are trying to get away from that type of shit anyway. So that wasn't going to be appealing to like you might see young kids and shit and some dipshits that whatever, but you know, that's the appeal. One of the appeals of SARMs is to not have to do that. You know what I mean? That's why it's just
not have to inject.
stupid.
Yeah.
It's just
You get steroid-like results without having to shoot yourself. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Exactly. And you know, that's not what that's not how they're intended to be taken. So I just I don't know. Shit like that just fucking sets me just off, man. I hate to do that, but you know, I'm passionate on that.
Well, yeah, because they're letting their greed get ahead of them, and yeah, like you said, it could have consequences for everything and everybody else in the space. Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, I'm kind of glad they're gone. Haven't seen anyone talk about them, and apparently they're no longer being sold. But I always thought that was a clusterfuck waiting to happen with these injectable SARMs, and it was just someone's attempt to be different in the market and you know, bring something different to what's otherwise pretty darn competitive. But yeah, it seems like it might have not been the best way to go.
No.
So anything else you would suggest as far as MK677? Any other information that you'd like guys to know about the compound that's maybe not really spoken about? Any secrets, ways to use it, side effects to look out for, advantages? Anything else we could add about 677 that's not being spoken about to close the show?
So just there's one thing, because this is always gets asked. All right. And it's always about like insulin sensitivity and hypoglycemia. 677 can raise your blood glucose levels. No one should tell you otherwise. All right. And if you're insulin resistant, it can cause like a reactive hypoglycemia. Okay. So that's where you're going to see basically sharp spikes in your blood sugar. And that can basically, what it's going to do is cause like an exaggerated level of insulin secretion and glucose uptake into your cells. And that can crash your blood sugar and cause hypoglycemia. All right. So that's something that everybody needs to aware of. This is like a really poor endogenous regulation of blood glucose. And it's generally, that's going to be kind of like indicative of some degree of insulin resistance in a person. So just some signs and symptoms of reactive hypoglycemia, weakness, shakiness, sleepiness, things like that. You could maybe get some lightheadedness, sweat a lot, have over anxiety, possibly can even induce hunger. There's several clinical studies that I saw that didn't show any change in blood glucose levels whatsoever. And that's why I was talking about the general normal everyday person. But there were a few studies that caused an elevation with like people's fasted blood glucose levels. And then there was some decreased insulin sensitivity there. So GH can cause your blood sugar levels to rise. I think most people are aware of that, and that's going to make your pancreas work a lot harder, and it's going to try to compensate and release insulin to bring blood sugar levels back down. If you have like chronic HGH elevation, then that can create some chronic pancreatic stress in certain people, and that can result in some insulin resistance and some like cell degeneration. So these are just some things that I want people to be aware of about it and understand what and why, because you see people bring it up, but they don't really explain it, or they ask it, but the explanation is not really in depth or very good. So I've actually put in some time, because my explanations were pretty weak too when I kind of thought about it and went back in time. So I tried to put some more effort into getting a better explanation out there. I'm sure I'm not the end all be all expert on, you know, the hypoglycemia and the insulin sensitivity, because it's, well, I'm aware of a lot of it. It's not something that anybody I know of, or really any clients that I've had over all these years. I've had some, but they're not messing around with 677 or anything. So I have an understanding of it, but I put more time and effort into understanding the effect of 677 on individuals, so I can spread more, you know, wealth of information on that and cover it more. Because sometimes I can come across like I'm just like pro, and I will always explain the side effects, but I want to be a little bit more in depth on the way that I'm looking at it and explaining it, so people don't, you should never just be pro and not explain the bad, because generally there's always something to look out for. It might be very, very fucking minor, but you should at least know it pretty well to explain it to other people if you're going to be for something, especially. So just want to make sure people understand, you know, those types of things. Just side effects like we talked about: lethargy, increased appetite, water retention, and then like the things that I just talked about as well. Sometimes there's a little bit of tingle or numbing hands and fingers, but not like with HGH, where you kind of see that more common, you know, that carpal tunnel syndrome. You're probably not going to see that very often with 677 at all. So that's something. One thing I will tell you that doesn't get talked about that they did, and I saw this on a mice study, was it helped improve their immune system. And there was some hair loss prevention, because IGF-1 actually can affect like follicular proliferation and differentiation. All right. So that can help hair growth. There's more evidence that kind of has come up about that. I haven't seen that a lot in people's logs, but I always see improved health, healthy hair, healthy skin, healthy nails. So it's definitely possible. And then it can help with hormone deficiency, like I had brought up earlier, if you were treating yourself for that. So those are just some other things that maybe don't get talked about quite as much as certain aspects of it. But that's generally it. Dose wise, 25 milligrams a day for men. For females, 12.5 milligrams a day. That's generally where I'd keep it for both. There's no reason to go up or down. Leave it there. So that's really the other things I think we didn't touch on.
All right, awesome, man. Great information as always, Dylan. I really appreciate you coming out and sharing info with people. Just tell people where they can find you if they got some follow-up questions, if they want help, if they want to pay you for consultation. What would be the best way for people to reach you?
Yeah, definitely. And I have been taking on clients again. So I am doing that. If anybody's got questions, you can generally, you can either find me on, there's 4 forums that I'm on constantly. That's isarms.com, evolutionary.org, elitefitness.com, and anabolics.com. I'm always on those. So you can always catch me there. Dylan at sarmsexpert.com. You can email me there. Check out my YouTube. Like Rick had said, I really appreciate people are really helping rebuild that channel, man, like fast. And it's just amazing. It really is. And I just very, very, very gratifying. And I am truly appreciative. I'm turning 40 this next month. So the older you get, the more things you appreciate. Tons. So, but yeah, those are all the ways to get me. So anybody, anytime, just feel free.
Yeah, definitely. You have a lot of very loyal fans. You know, YouTube has had it out for you and your channels now for going on 3 years, 4 years now, where they once your channels get popular, they shut you down. But you've got such a loyal following that guys are searching for Dylan Gemelli on YouTube, finding your new content, finding your new channels and subscribing. And I see some of the comments there from people that follow you, and you've got a faithful group of it looks like about 40 to 50,000 guys who, when your channels get shut down and you bring another one up, these guys fill in your channel pretty quickly. And I guess that's just a testament to how much you help people, how many questions you answer. You're always there for the people. You're always there for everyone that needs help. And it looks like that's going a long way and make you really popular.
I'm trying my best, man. I've said and done some things I regret and things in the past, but I really try to be there for people and make things right and do what I can. And you're right. The people that follow me are pretty fucking loyal. And I'm a only child in an Italian family. So loyalty is like one of the main things that's important in our lives, in my family. So it's a big deal, man. It really is. But, you've helped me a ton, and you helped me even get started and everything. So I always am in full gratitude and indebted to you. That's why anytime you need me, I'm always there.
Yeah, man, you definitely have helped me a lot with this podcast. You've been on here for many episodes and helped out a ton, man. Hey, I really appreciate it, Dylan. So yeah, man, I guess that's it, brother. I appreciate your time today, and we'll do it again sometime.
Absolutely. I always enjoy it and look forward to it.
All right, my man. Have a good one, bro.
You too, brother.
All right, so that was the episode. So really good episode. You covered a lot of different things, Rick. What was your favorite part of the episode? What was something you learned in that podcast?
The whole thing is great. I like learning and discussing these compounds and how they're used. It's just great. I mean, the whole interview, I learned a lot of things. I confirmed some other things that I thought I already knew. It's a great show. We'll definitely have Dylan back on here and on elitefitness.com in the future.
Yeah, it's amazing. MK677, really a unique compound for sure. It does things that are quite amazing, and I've used it myself a couple of times, and it really lives up to its billing. All right, so this was episode 458 of Evolutionary.org podcast, and episode 40 of the Elite Fitness podcast hosted by Ricky V. Rock. We'll talk to you guys next week. Take care.
Have a good one, Steve. Have a good one, guys.
Guys, this is the required legal disclaimer. We are only sharing our experience from years of steroid use. We are not doctors, and none of what we say should be regarded as medical advice. Always check with your doctor before taking any drugs or starting any training program.
Hey guys, so this is the required legal disclaimer. I'm not a doctor, neither is my guest. Do not take any drugs or engage in any kind of physical activity without first checking with your doctor. You must first get your doctor's advice before you do anything or take any compounds. Also, none of the statements we made today have been approved by the FDA, so none of these products we've mentioned today are meant to cure, diagnose, or treat any sort of illnesses. And that's your warning right there, guys.